All right. Hello and welcome to session 12 of Heroes of Nilfenburg Beyond the Fever Swamp. It has been 2 weeks since our last game, and we are now down a player, permanent, pretty permanently. In that, due to a change in my life, the game has moved to a new time, and Telgin cannot join us anymore, unfortunately. So Iksa has vanished to the moon for 1,000 years, or possibly less.
All right, we're not going into any swamps until we get a new paladin. All swamp-related quests are on hold.
Okay.
Lucas,
You can do your own swamp quests on your own time.
but that's not how the format of the game works.
That's explicitly how the format of the game works.
Well, you'll just have to multi-class into paladin, won't you?
I mean, that seems very natural for Phil Sticker anyway, so I don't see why that's a problem. You probably should have a level in Paladin.
You've been
just
wanting
needs
to
to-
multi-class this entire time, Sala. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity.
I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Just take on Grandfather Rod as your god or whatever.
Isn't, like, Wizard Rogue his default 5e character? I thought something like that, or Cleric and Rogue.
He
I'm pretty sure
played.
multi-class
He played
last time.
a wizard rogue fighter
Yeah, see?
in the first game I ran.
No, I was a warlock rogue fighter.
Sorry, warlock rogue fighter. That was after the wizard died.
Yes.
In all
Well,
seriousness,
Brad.
though, Oath of the Ancients wouldn't do you bad.
Yes.
I'll look it up and reject it because someone else suggested it. No thanks, Mom.
All right.
So, it has been 2 weeks, so does someone want to do a quick recap of last time? You did
On our last pseudo-heroic adventure, we were traveling from the Runestone to the Tower of Archmage Gerhard, whereupon we met a treant who had been tied with chains and forgotten by the side of the road as a result of a dispute in which he was the victim. Unable to proceed through any other method, we negotiated his surrender and service to the state in exchange for his freedom, or if you can call it that, with no restitution whatsoever for the treant, aside from hard labor that he'll have to perform. We all thought that was very heroic of us at the time before moving on to the Tower of Archmage Gerhard, wherein we chatted about magical conundrums and attempted to figure out what was going on with the Runestone, without much success.
Yes. Lucas has been spending his days in the tower with the Archmage and has done some things off screen. What Lucas chooses to share with the rest of the party is up to Lucas.
Lucas will, of course, let them know that the evidence points towards some sort of a magical barrier around the tomb. That the archaeological evidence suggests that it must initially have been a vault, because if you had built it as a prison, why would you fill it with treasures? And a magically warded room has got to be one of those two things. He knows that the runestone above lights up when the magic blocking is in use, so something was continuously attempting to send magic into or out of the chamber below. And he believes that it won't be possible for him to learn more about what's going on there with the door closed. So what we ought to do, I think, is create one of those circles of protection around the door, nail in some pythons, roof and floor, at about a 10-degree angle relative to the wall, then allow the doors to open just a crack so that we may converse through them and perform suitable divinations. I don't greatly admire the notion of leaving someone trapped eternally in a chamber like that, good or bad, but we ought to at least learn what we can.
That sounds great.
Sounds fine, but I feel like this is a situation where we could apply the immovable rod to some useful effect.
Yes, we should definitely further secure the door with the immovable rod. Perhaps we hold it. I can calculate the position. We can activate it, and it can serve as a stop for the 10 degrees we want the door open. The major concern is that magic will be able to travel both in and out of the chamber. And in my initial assessment that the chamber was created as a vault and that the animated body is merely trapped within proves to be wrong, and it was some sort of magical prison made for a creature capable of leaping between the minds of people, or casting some other great powerful effect, or calling for aid, or any number of other reasons you might trap something in a magical prison, the crack will not be adequate. It is a risk, but I think it's a risk we may have to take.
All right. So, heading back to the Runestone from the temple is 6 days of travel. You can go ahead and pay for cost of living for six days. And your journey back to the Runestone is uneventful. You arrive on the Runestone, and it is as you left it. There is a boy sitting on like a tree stump across the road from it, looking very bored. He hops up. He's young. He looks about 10, maybe younger. And he hops up as soon as he sees your carriage approaching. Hey, it's you adventurers. You're back.
Yes. Hello. We've come to investigate a little bit further.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are here. It's my turn to watch the bloody rock, and I'm bored out of my mind. I better go run and tell the elder that you're here.
Yes. And tell the digging team as well, please.
Okay, yeah, I'll go get him. And the boy runs off. And 30 minutes later, a couple of the young farmhands are there with digging implements in tow. And you want us to do the same thing we did before?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry for the difficult work. You see, we think that it's possible that someone may be trapped who needs help, and so we really must do what we can to discern if that is the case.
They nod to each other. You do got some coin for us though, right? Because we are supposed to be out planting the fields.
Oh, of course.
Oh, good. All right. We'll get to it. And they start shoveling. It's gonna take a while. They got a big hole to dig. It'll be a little faster this time because they can go through the same dirt. They don't have to worry about rocks and shit.
Fantastic.
But still a big hole to dig. Any things you want to do in the in this, I don't know, hour of downtime?
Tip the workers 3 copper coins so I can get rid of them and have even amount of money.
Okay.
All right, I already parted with 2 gold, same as last time, so. If I recall correctly.
All right. That's a good wage for physical
Well, not
labor, I
each.
think. Oh, okay.
Not 2 gold each.
Oh,
2 gold between them.
too late. Okay.
Right. Well, they
You don't want to pay these villagers too much. It's not like we have basically unlimited money.
um,
Inflation is bad for everyone, okay?
We don't
it
have
can,
a
it
lot
can be
anyway.
worthwhile to pay your hirelings more if you're going to keep them around, because, like, loyalty is a thing, but,
Right, yeah, but we don't want to destroy the economy of their village, I guess. That's fair.
I mean, it is planting season. We don't want there to be a famine because we were overpaying for farm labor.
But yeah, so they dig the hole, they, get down to the bricks that you bricked up before, and they turn to your dwarves and say, "You think you can take it from here?"
Racists.
I mean,
No,
I
they
suppose.
just don't want to be cursed for, like, actually breaking through the wall of a tomb or be
Nice.
grabbed by zombies.
I guess Bort will grab whatever digging implements they have
Mm-hmm.
and start digging the rest of the way.
All right. I mean, you already destroyed the mortar and stuff, and that anything that might have been holding these bricks together before. And you knock your way in, and anyone who's still on the surface, the moment Bort touches the stone, the stone, the runestone begins to glow again.
Interesting.
Yeah, it must have been the spider.
No, because according to the village elder with whom I've been in contact on our travels, it's glowed 3 times in our absence, and it has corresponded with my attempts to penetrate the vault. Does Lucas know if it's possible that this is simply like making a sound and something is trying to scry out, or if it's possible that the runestone glows for multiple reasons, whether the tombstone is penetrated by magic or anything else, or is it possible for him to discern something like that?
While Bort wasn't silent breaking through the wall, he doesn't think it would carry the distance down to the place where the hero is entombed, unless he had some sort of incredibly good tremor sense. So he doesn't think that it would be probable that someone has heard that and is trying to scry out, unless a necromancer has taken up residence in the first room in the 2 weeks you've been gone.
That wouldn't do it anyway if it's carrying residual energy from only the vault chamber.
Yes, so it seems to Lucas that logically there should be some other explanation.
Oh, Lucas will put the first stone back into place and observe.
If you put all the stones back into place and you wait a few minutes, the glow subsides.
Interesting. The glow must indicate more than one type of penetration of the tomb. Fascinating. Well, we'll still have to investigate.
All right. So you open up the wall again. It begins glowing again, and you enter the tomb. Entering into the first room, in whatever manner you choose to do so, you see no signs of anyone having been here in the time since you've been gone. It is in the same state that you left it. And you descend into the sword room.
It's still interesting to Lucas that his identification of the runestone didn't indicate any of these properties. You might try it again. later, but for now, we'll continue on. I don't think we're planning to take the sword because that's very obviously a trap. So I think we're going to head all the way down.
All right. Heading all the way down, the ruins are exactly as you've left them. You cleared out all of the undead and burned all of the bodies, so nothing has reanimated. The cave-in is still caved in. The the door is still closed.
Let's get everything set up with the pythons. We'll have
You
one
want
of
me
the
to draw the
villagers
circle?
meet us up by the hole, but we'll try each of our blood perhaps before we get one of them down here again, just on the off chance it works. Because I would rather not have anyone take any risks with regards to this. Does that sound agreeable to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Good. The magic circle should last long enough to check everyone and then walk up, get the boy again, and walk back. Lucas sighs. Hopefully it won't come to that.
Okay, so you want me to draw it on the wall around the door, or
Yes, please. We'll be doing 4 rows of pythons at 15-degree angles here, moving towards a central position here and here.
If you were indicating on the map, I'm not seeing it. Oh, now I'm seeing it.
Floor and roof.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do the immovable rod halfway up between the 2 peaks.
Okay. And where are we drawing the magic circle?
This is a rules question more than anything else, and it's an interpretive rules question. So there's 2 approaches I could see to this. Either we do it Stargate style around the door, or we have to try to make the magic circle like there.
I was imagining that we bend it in the middle so that like we got that part and then the other part is up on the wall going over the door. And then the actual dimension of the magic circle is probably a full circle in line with the ground. Although if I can exclude that other half, then I would like to.
I was thinking that you could do like a half circle on this side of the door. Only because you have reason to believe that the walls themselves are magically secure. I will allow it in this case. But I do want to know where everyone is standing. So, everyone be good with your positions.
All right. Well, Lucas would like to be standing where Bort is presently standing because he's the one with the tongue spell. So he's going to have to address this guy, but he would rather Bort be between the 2 of us.
So you want Bort to be like right here in inside the half circle?
Yes.
Is Bort okay with that, considering how bad he got his ass kicked last time?
Bort is wary, but does it because Bort is. Bort knows this time and knows to be more cautious, so he thinks he'll be fine.
Okay.
Would also probably be ideal to have people on either side of Bort in case we need to force the doors closed again.
John, do you
Okay.
want to move Silas into that position?
Let me. Just inside the half circle, because I thought he was
Mhm.
good where he was, but okay, that works. Yeah, I kept forgetting where exactly the door was.
Yeah,
but,
that would be inside the half circle, but also able to close the door without having to move at all.
then yeah, I'm fine with that. That
Okay.
works for me.
So, you face the door. It is as described before, with the menacing dragon and the bloody hand, and the words which say the things that they say.
All right, Silas, why don't you try first?
All right.
Okay. Silas, roll a d20. Okay. So, Silas, you cut your hand so that there's blood on it, and you press your hand to the door. And after a moment, there's a yellow glow as the stone sealing the door shut melts through, and the door tries to open outward as it did before it strikes the immovable rod and the other securing mechanisms that you have put into place.
We
And
people are all related.
and there is a crack in the door, and you can see it into the room, and you see him sitting there on his throne.
This time, armed with a tongue spell, Lucas will call out, hello, sorry about the fireball.
He stands and has his sword in hand. Fireball?
Yes, we opened the door earlier in the week, and there was some confusion. I'm Lucas Dietrich Stein. We're with the Nilfenburg Guild of Cartographers. We were here investigating. What's going on?
He like rubs his head, and he seems a little confused. I think I remember there was people came before. Nilfenburg. Where is that? I've never heard of such a place.
It's not far. It's been a long time. It might not have been there when you were sealed in. Were you sealed in? Why are you in this chamber?
I don't remember. I was going to some celebration, and there was a lot of pain, and then I was here. Where is my sword? He's holding a sword.
Possibly in your hand, possibly in a room upstairs. We weren't able to determine which was the real sword.
He looks at the sword in his hands. This is shit. Who made this?
This is a prank sword.
We have no idea.
Who are you again?
Cartographers.
What's a cartographer?
We make maps. And more recently, we search ruins.
Ruins.
Yes, I'm afraid by all evidence you've been down here for thousands of years.
He kind of staggers in place. I have to get out.
I would imagine so.
He
Last
takes a
time
few
we
steps
spoke-
forward.
Last time we spoke, you did nearly kill Bort. So could we perhaps talk briefly before we engineer an exit for you?
Talk, yes. What? I tried
Do
to
you
kill one of your men.
Do you not recall our previous visit?
Not clearly. I've been in here so long.
Yes, you appear to be undead, sir.
He
That's
looks.
nothing new.
He looks down, and his like undead fingers touch the sewn up wound in his torso where he was where the fatal blow was dealt. I remember. Someone stole my sword. I need my sword.
The sword will help you?
He steps forward right up to the crack in the door. And he pushes to try and open it. Open this door.
Soon. What do you intend to do next, exactly?
I will find my sword. I will... Thousands of years.
Yes, I'm afraid everything has changed quite a bit. There's going to be
Must-
something of an adjustment period. And you understand, of course, my reluctance to let a many thousands of year old undead, who doesn't seem to have a full cognitive grasp, but who is nevertheless an incredibly dangerous warrior, simply walk about. It would be wrong of me to hold you here indefinitely, but some assurance would be nice that you will perhaps swear not to kill anyone for at least a year and a day until such time as you've had a chance to fully acclimate to this time and place, that sort of thing.
I didn't understand any of that.
I have to retake my lands. I've had everything stolen from me. Need to take everything back.
That would kill a lot of people. That is exactly the opposite of what I'm hoping you'll say.
What has happened to my clan?
I'm afraid that your clan and the people of Nilfenburg are no longer separate. So far, every human we've tried against this lock has been your descendant.
Good.
So I
Then
suppose in that
I
sense-
must go to this Nilfenburg.
Yes, only again, and I must stress this: if you kill anyone there, it will be a lot of trouble, particularly for us, your kind, if perhaps less than confident at times, rescuers. So I would ask you to swear to do all that you can to integrate with Nilfen society, rather than to make an enemy of it.
He seems to consider this. He
They all get this treatment.
He considers and says, "If you let me out, I swear, for a year and a day, I shall seek no quarrel with Nilfenburg. Or its people.
And you shall not.
I shall not kill save for in self-defense.
And if you could defend yourself without killing.
That would be preferable. I will
That
make.
would be
I will make that.
obligatory.
He seems to not want to make this oath. I will swear that if you will release me from this prison.
Well, everyone deserves a chance, and we can't leave you here forever. Please
That's a
don't make
good
me
way.
regret this.
Nice.
Take a step back, and we'll be able to get the pythons out.
He steps back.
And I guess wait. So what's everything that you just said, Lucas?
Oh, he's delighted to know that every human we've tried so far against this has been his descendant. He seems to want to recover his lands and title, and frankly, he may actually have a chance to do that, depending on the book of lineages within Nilfenburg and his political acumen. However, as an undead, there's certain rights issues, all of which is to say that he's promised not to kill anyone for at least a year and a day while he acclimates himself to Nilfen society. That should give us more than ample time to acclimate him to Nilfen society.
No. Okay. You can always come and stay in my swamp.
Let's get the pythons out.
And I gotta dispel my circle.
All right. So you dispel the circle. You remove the pythons. The doors swing open the rest of the way, and all the treasure is visible. And Seguro starts walking towards the stairs. Does Bort move out of his way?
Of course. Bort's not going to stand in his way.
Does that mean that all this treasure's still his?
Yes, and in fact, some of these other ones, we'll have to give them back.
He reaches the top of the stairs, and speaking in his language, he says, "Oh, I know these tombs. This is where my family. This is where my clan buries our dead.
I'm afraid
Where are they? There should be bodies here."
they attacked us, and we put them to rest again with fire.
He looks around at your group and says, "Ah, yes, of course. Not all of you are blood of the clan, so they would have attacked you."
The use of undead in such contexts is not strictly speaking illegal in Nilfenburg, but it is licensed and regulated in ways that we weren't anticipating such a thing. In any event, your missing effects will be returned to you.
Mm-hmm. He walks over and touches the cave in. Seems curious what happened here to make a hole in the wall. He says, "The things that they had were theirs, not mine. But I suppose they should be left here for their future lives to reclaim."
All right? Lucas will say, "You'll have to explain that to me. But please, there's something you need to see up the next staircase."
He walks up the next staircase. And as he comes into here, he looks and frowns at all the empty places where bodies should be. But then he sees the sword in the next room, and he sprints over to it. And he looks at it, and it takes him a minute, and he says, "No, this isn't my sword." And he touches it, and the message plays. And he nods. Ah, of course. They've hidden it. He turns and spins around to you. Did you find a sword? One like this, but with a different mark on the blade.
I don't believe so. Lucas will pick back through the packs quickly. Scroll case, tiara, gloves, plate, pearl necklace, silk robes, death mask, golden band rings, bloodstones. We found these 2 long swords, but neither of them were particularly fantastic.
How dare you insult my work?
What do you make of these murals? They seem to depict events surrounding your life and, I suppose, death. I was wondering if you could comment upon them.
He looks and says, "Oh, well, these weren't here when I was last alive."
I would imagine not.
He walks through and he touches them, and he nods and says, "What questions did you have?"
Who is this figure here betraying you?
He looks and says, "I never saw the man who stabbed me. But from this depiction, it might have been my brother."
We don't know what might have become of him. This is the only... this seems to be the last piece of recording we have on the matter, unfortunately. But,
If they knew it was him, if he was caught, he would have been executed.
what would have happened to him after his execution?
His body would have been burned. His things destroyed.
I see.
Sounds like it could have included his sword.
No. It would have, but not my sword. If he killed me with my sword, they wouldn't have destroyed that. They would have hidden it. I don't know why it wasn't buried with me, but it must be in this tomb.
Do you know why your section of the tomb is magically shielded? I attempted to make contact with you, but was unable to penetrate the wards.
Shielded?
Yes. Some sort of elder stone built into the vault.
Elder stone. I don't... There are gold veins in the walls, but I don't know anything about Elderstone.
Would you say imperial gold?
I'm not familiar with that term.
So it was by accident, then. This place seems to have been created to be shielded from magic, including magical detection. I attempted to send you messages, and we were not able to do so.
He looks and says, "Why am I still here? Why didn't my soul go on to reincarnate?"
I was actually hoping you would be able to tell us. I was just waiting for a good moment to ask.
This isn't right.
No, but I do have an idea, perhaps. Albeit not a particularly intelligent one.
I'm listening.
There is a new god whom governs the estate of death. We may seek his counsel.
A new god? They just make new gods in Nilfenburg.
No, he's pre-Nilfin in a manner of speaking. He was dead before there was life, and there was a long story. Suffice it to say, you are not the first entombed ancient evil we have attempted to rescue.
It sounds like you have some interesting stories.
Perhaps we do. But for now, I suppose we should perform a far more important experiment upon the effects of liquor upon an undead stomach.
That sounds like a worthy experiment.
Come on, then. You should see the tombstone and how it glows. Perhaps it should shed some light on the matter of the shielding.
Oh, of course the tombstone is the runestone glows.
Oh?
The tomb is open. Someone is inside. It is being disturbed.
It also glowed when I attempted to send you sendings.
Must have something to do with the magic being disrupted by the, what did you call it? Imperial gold?
Yes, or Elder Stone. It has many names.
Perhaps when your magic was intercepted, caused some minor disturbance that the runestone detected. Took it as someone entering the tomb or something being disturbed.
Well, the Ancestor Stone is tricky business and not something I've experimented with too much. I'll head up first, let the villagers know that the ancient undead warrior king living beneath their feet does not mean them harm, and that we will be having a round of ales.
That sounds good.
What's
We're
everything you said?
We are going to have to teach him the common tongue.
Yes, Lucas will switch back. Actually, because Lucas has tongues, you guys can understand everything Lucas says. Anyway.
I figured as much, but
So
still,
we
we
got
can't
half of the
understand
conversation.
him.
Yeah, so you have you got exactly half of that conversation. So you got ills at least.
I think Lucas has at least asked a question about or commented on everything he said.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But just in case, he'll summarize to everyone here. Back in common again, which Sigaru will still understand because tongues is still up. I'm going to go let the villagers know it's all right, and we're going to have to teach Sigaru about the common tongue and Nilfenburg, and he is going to want to find his sword. And Lucas will crawl over, hop a couple of times, struggle, and get himself into the hole and start crawling out.
Yeah.
Suguru is making a walk around the tomb room. He's like checking every stone for weaknesses or for loose things. He's looking for some sort of hidden compartment, but he doesn't seem to be finding it. Meanwhile, Lucas, you get back up to the surface, and the farm boys are like, we didn't hear any fighting.
No, it went quite well, actually. Sigaru has promised to take at least a year and a day to evaluate Nilfin society and integrate with it before making any decisions. He seems pleased to know that some of his descendants are living among you, and he'll be coming up shortly for a drink at the pub, if that's all right with everyone.
The farm boys just kind of look completely floored by this. What?
Sigaru, the Dragon Slayer, King of Men, wielder of Gram, the Golden One, who was anointed by blood, the Shaper of Swords, and so on and so forth, the character from the children's story, is real. He is undead. He is intelligent. He has been trapped beneath your village, and he needs a beer.
Everyone's the same on the inside.
Okay. I think we have to go tell the elder.
Best had.
They run.
Lucas will actually ask them to get the elder to come back. He thought the elder would be here for some reason.
All right. It
And
takes
then
a
he'll
little.
go through that whole speech again with the elder. when he gets back.
Yes. Meanwhile, the Undead Hero is continuing searching through his 10-foot squares at a time of searching for a secret compartment or a hidden spot where his sword might be, unsuccessfully as he moves down into that other room.
Right. Bort will sort of try and get his attention, poke him or whatever, and just hold up the digging implements that he has and shrug, because that's about the extent of what he thinks he can communicate to
Mm-hmm.
to Sigaru right now.
He puts his shitty sword into his belt, and he takes he looks at your digging implements and takes one of them, and maybe uses it as he's tapping around and seeing if he can find anything. He says something to you in his language, but you don't understand, and he shrugs and goes back to his work.
Right. Bort will just sort of try and help him find whatever he's looking for. Probably not going to work, but
Where is Bort looking, and what is he looking for?
right. Well, Bort is going to go wherever Sigaru. Bort's going to just sort of follow after Sigaru and use his stone stone cunning or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
just to see if he can
See anything he misses?
yeah.
All right. So Lucas, the elder, reappears, and you explain to him, and he says, "Well, what will the Empire say? If we have an undead living among us?"
Well, I suppose it will depend how all of this is presented, but I somewhat imagine that the response might be, "Oh, a large deposit of ancestor stone," immediately followed by furious digging of the entire countryside here, and tremendous profit for all of you. As to the matter of the undead, as I understand it, there are practicing necromancers within Nilfenburg. He'll have to be licensed, that sort of thing, but that's a concern for me, I think, at this stage.
They, all right, then I think the least I can do is provide you all some beer.
Yes, well, he does seem to be a Siguro, and he is a legendary hero, so it would be appropriate. Beside that, I'd like to make a good impression on him. Wouldn't admire leaving him trapped forever, nor killing him, nor leaving him in the current state of affairs. It's troubling.
Bring out the good beer.
Of course.
Let's hope he can even drink it. Once Siguru is up, Lucas will explain that people will probably want to mine out the Ancestor Stone anyway, so if there's any hidden walls or compartments, like as not, the entire tomb should just be taken apart and a new one built to access the Ancestor Stone, and that any hidden compartments will be found in that process.
I will have to oversee this, then. I cannot have Graham fall into the wrong hands.
Yes, quite. I'm certain your mountain of gold will help with that. So, for now, an ale.
An ale. And everyone gives you, as he steps out into the sunlight with you, everyone in town gives him a very wide berth, as he is, a strange golden mummy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get him a shirt.
Yeah. And you make your way to the tavern, and food and drink are provided for you. And he takes a tankard of beer, and he starts to drink it. And he drinks the entire tankard. And then he puts it down.
Well,
and he says, I can't taste anything.
Damn.
I don't feel
We'll work
anything.
on it. This is probably going to take some fixing.
He can't taste anything, and what was the second thing he said?
He can't feel anything. He just drank, a large amount of beer, and no effect.
Such as the pain of being dead, except not.
I do wonder if your undead state may have interrupted your cycle of reincarnation, or if there is a second of you about the primaterial plane somewhere.
If my soul is trapped, I think. I don't know why. This imperial gold.
Are you covered in it?
No. No, my skin turned gold when I bathed in the blood of Nibelungen, the red dragon.
I meant to ask, do you have any relationship with a green dragon?
A green dragon?
Yes.
I've never killed a green dragon.
Very well. There's been an unusual appearance of a green dragon of late. I thought it would be worth investigating the connection.
Not that I can think of.
Like it's not unrelated then.
It has been thousands of years, you said, yes?
Yes. But dragons live a long time.
Also sure.
So there's a number of paths available to us. First and foremost, we should probably visit the city of Nilfenburg, whereupon you can be formally licensed to even be undead. and be informed of any relevant rules and regulations surrounding that, and investigate what divinatory magics are available. I would like to perform some divinations upon you tonight in case I can learn much, but I'm afraid the soul is somewhat beyond the realm of arcane magic and will require a more divine touch. From there, our options would include venturing into the Fever Swamp to locate where we awoke the god of death and see if we can make contact in that fashion, or to seek out Archmage Gerhardt, whose intentions are not entirely suspect, but who may not be our ideal source. Lastly, of course, we could send a message to Saint Amelia of Primus. Do you know Primus, by the way? Not personally, but I mean, are you aware of the deity Primus?
Let's see.
That bastard.
Primus is not a god that was worshipped by our people.
What gods did your people worship?
We worshipped. He names a few deities associated with war and heroism. First of all, spanning the alignment spectrum. Only after naming off several gods of war, he then only then does he mention a few fertility goddesses and some of these are still actively worshipped in Nilfenburg.
Yes, some of them are still present. Primus is more involved as the god of order in such things, and as this is clearly an abrogation of order, it would seem the place to begin. I shall send sendings to Saint Amelia immediately and seek her opinion on the matter. And perhaps she'll meet us in Nilfenburg. We also had an important expedition to conduct in the north at some point in the not too distant future, but it will not take priority over this until you are settled. I wouldn't want any inquisitors burning you while we're still sorting out what's happening, especially if you're not going to harm anyone.
I made my word. I gave you my word.
And I believe you. So, I imagine you have questions for us. We'll do what we can.
He starts trying to eat some of the food. But it's clear he can't taste any of it either. He does have questions. He wants to know who he asks questions about who is the king of this land now.
Who does rule Nilfenburg at the moment? I don't know if we ever established that.
We established that there's an emperor, but I never gave him a name.
Lucas will roll history to see if he can come up with something to describe this emperor that will make sense to Sigaru, and to see if he can connect it somehow to Sigaru's likely line.
Mm-hmm.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Lucas is a royalist, I guess.
Yes. So Lucas Lucas knows that of all the humans that are probably descended from Suguru, barring any cases of adultery, the royal family of Nilfenburg are those humans who are least likely to be descended from him. the royal family has long roots going back into Nilfenburg, and they marry into noble families from, or they marry nobles from other, royal other noble families from across the empire do marry into them, but Sugoru's people were conquered and brought into the empire in this one particular region. And while they have probably spread their genes, their blood through the lower classes pretty thoroughly, they are probably less penetrated into the noble blood.
Right, Lucas will say, "It is unlikely that any of your people are among the line of emperors of Nilfenburg. Although far spread through the area, such a line does not have such a connection to my knowledge. They are descendants of people who most likely made war with your people in ancient times, but that was a long time ago. It would be difficult to apply any moral culpability to them, particularly as your people and ours are indistinguishable in the present age."
I've been gone too long.
Perhaps so. I'm going to issue that sending, and then then I will begin some divinations, if you wouldn't mind.
What kind of divinations?
Well, I'm going to see if there's any magic still active upon you, and if so, what. That might indicate some sort of a curse or other such phenomenon which might be connected to your condition.
Okay. He sits and waits.
Yeah, all right. Lucas will send it. Well, actually, Lucas will do the thing first. He'll detect magic and then identify.
Okay. If detect magic tells you that there's an undead, there's an undead.
No part of this would be useful in saying he is an undead, other than the obvious.
Right.
But is there anything else?
Let me see. His skin is magical. Has some sort of natural, abjuration quality to it. His sword that he has in his hand is not magical. Yeah. He is not currently under the effects of any spells.
All right. Nothing useful there. So he'll send the divination to, or not the divination, the sending to Saint Amelia. Saint Amelia, this is Lucas. We have encountered the intelligent undead form of Sigaru the Dragon Slayer. He is friendly but confused. Please provide guidance.
Follow-up sending. I mean guidance in the colloquial sense, not the spell. I know the range for that is limited.
Intelligent undead must report to Inquisition. If
Good
judged,
job catching him.
if judged safe, could be citizen. Ask for. She gives a name. Um,
Two, three, or
how
four more words,
long dead
and that's it.
might be?
And I think that's it.
Oh, I thought that was 15 words. I had 10 more.
Oh, well, if I miscounted, I miscounted. I thought that was.
I might have done 2 hands, but I think I had a few more. I'm gonna go a few more.
All right.
How long dead might be able to help? And that's it.
That will have. That will have to do for now, as I can only either talk to Siguru for an hour a day, and send one sending.
Right.
Which I'll explain to Siguru. My
Mhm.
tongue spell will soon expire. I will be able to cast it again tomorrow. In the meantime, we're going to teach you a few words of the common tongue, just so that you can make some requests in an emergency. And the rest of the time doing that. Probably only managed to get him a couple of words today.
I cannot learn.
Like stop or help.
Mhm.
Those seem like two good ones.
Okay. So yeah, your tongue spell expires. Um. Um. Siguru eats until his belly is full, but he doesn't feel full. He seems upset about this, but mostly just sulks.
Don't worry, we'll sort something out. It's going to take some research, but don't give up hope.
That evening, he goes and he finds Bort. He taps Bort.
Hmm?
He gestures for you to follow him.
Bort will nod because that seems to be a reasonable universal gesture and will follow.
Mm-hmm. He takes Bort outside, and he walks back to his tomb. And he crawls back down into his he says stop because he knows that word now. And he goes back down into his tomb. And he comes back out. And he's holding the fake sword that was in the stone. The one he said was fake.
Hmm.
And he says something that you don't understand and holds the handle out for you to take it.
Right. Bort will not take it, but he will hold his hands out and let him lie the handle into his hands if that's what he wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he puts the sword into your hands.
Alright. Bort will grasp it and hold it and inspect it.
Mm-hmm. It's a fine sword. You know, it's a sword. It looks like it could be magic, but you know it had strange mixed signals when Lucas identified it.
Bort will give it a few swings in the air, just to test its weight and all that. And after he is satisfied, he will offer it back to Sigaru.
Sigaru shakes his head. Stop. Sigaru pulls his own sword and assumes a defensive stance.
It's come to finish the job, Bort.
He says something and gestures with one hand to come.
All right. Bort will take up and Bort will take up an offensive posture, but then stop and pull back, and then he will make a gesture of cutting across his arm, and then a gesture of cutting across his neck, and then sort of shrug and look at Sigaru curiously. Basically, if they're going to fight, is it to wound or to kill?
Sigaru shakes his head. Lucas, help Sigaru. He gestures like from his mouth. Sigaru, help Bort. And then he shakes his sword.
Bort nods and holds his sword prepared, but not necessarily in a hostile gesture.
Sigaru, in a controlled fashion, attacks Bort. And then tries to correct Bort's stance. Sigaru is attempting to spar/train Bort in the sword.
All right. Well, Bort will probably take to it naturally, being already quite martially capable with the sword. But still pays attention because it is probably an ancient style that may have long been lost, and it is worthy of respect and worthy of being learned.
Also, you know. Also, you learn that he has a higher proficiency bonus than you, so he's definitely. Yes, he has many more levels than you do, so there is much to learn. But he will continue sparring with Bort until Bort is exhausted.
Bort will continue sparring until he is exhausted.
Alright. Morning comes.
Sounds good. I think that we're going to be making our way towards Nilfenburg. Probably send another sending clarifying that I would actually like it if Saint Amelia would come and provide guidance to Sigaru, but if she's unavailable, I understand. We are on our way to the Inquisition.
Her response is that she was yesterday she was in the middle of something in Elend, but this seems more important, and so she will meet you in Nilfenburg.
All right. In the day at some point, I will explain to first of all to everyone that we have to walk because I can't keep giving Sigaru one time a day to talk. If we're using the cart, it takes up too much magical power. But otherwise, there will be one chance a day in the evening to communicate with Sigaru and to teach him more common.
Bort will look absolutely miserable because he was planning on sleeping in the cart.
We can do the cart on the first day, but that will be it.
All right.
Do you mind if we take a quick break?
Sure. We'll take a 10-minute break now.
Thank you.
All right. So we are back from our break, and we are ready to continue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days back to the heart of Nilfenburg. Everyone, go ahead and pay 5 days of lifestyle. And you return. You reach the city. I
imagine before we went, we'd have gotten a couple of bags of coins from downstairs for Sigaru to like rent rooms and stuff, buy clothes.
Sure, right. There is quite a pile of gold and silver and a few platinum down there. He has quite a treasure hoard. And you're able to acquire him some shirt, a shirt, and like a cloak or something. And you'll be, if desired, you'll be able to get him nicer clothes in the city.
That's up to him. It's his money. We're just making sure he brings it with him, so he's not like stuck outside it and being like, "Could someone rent me a room? I know I'm a billionaire, but I left it all over there."
Right. Yes, he does bring some gold. You also all noticed the next morning that Bort has a new sword.
Yeah, I'll ask Bort about that before I ask Sigaru. Bort, why did you take the probably cursed sword?
Sigaru gave me the probably cursed sword. I think it's not cursed since he gave it to me.
It's very strange. I'll ask him about it later.
All right. So it's later on the road.
When we eventually stop at the inn, is
Mhm.
when I'll be ending up casting the sending and having, or not sending the translation spell, the tongues, and having a conversation with him.
All
Actually,
right.
can I cast it on him? That would probably be easiest. Make him better at learning common though, so best cast it on me. I'll ask him. Why did you give Bort the probably cursed sword left as a trap at the front of your tomb?
He looks at you and says, "Why do you think it was trapped?"
Because the warning said not to take it unless you were sure you recognized it, and my identification indicated that it had hidden effects.
The sword was... There would be no point in cursing it.
No?
No. The maker's mark is wrong. The older people of my clan would know if a boy or girl took the sword claiming to be me reincarnated. They would know, the elders would, that they had taken, that they had not recognized the blade, and that they had taken it through greed, delusion, and not as they should have. And they would be punished and sent back.
I see. Well, if you're
But
sure
it is
it's safe.
but it appears to be a fine sword. Apparently, I almost killed him. He is not bad with the blade, but I wish to teach him more.
Well, I'm sure he'll be delighted to hear that. So, the phrase for today is, I am a friendly, sentient undead. It means that you are a friendly and sentient undead. It might be something that you will need to say to people in the event that they should discover your undead state and not immediately grasp this concept, as you might understand.
I am a friendly and sentient undead.
Good. Lucas will take him through a few more lessons on that phrase and a couple of other basic ways to say those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
Till the hour is up. Or if he with interruptions for any questions from him, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As we approach Nilfenburg, Lucas plans to move towards explaining to him how the Inquisition works, what it is, and that not all of their practices are good in the strictest sense. But like with all things, they are what must be.
You can always run away to the swamp.
Yes. He, as you get closer to Nilfenburg, he probably sees more things that he has questions about. As you're in the farming area, I imagine that there isn't too much that he would necessarily question. But as you start getting closer, he may say, "Why do we keep passing these rocks on the side of the road? Oh, those are mile markers. Why is the road like a road instead of a horse path? Because the Empire builds roads. The fuck's a road?" So on and so forth.
Where are all the crucified, misbegotten children?
They're coming up.
You only get those right by the capital.
But yeah, it would be clear to anyone looking that Lucas does not approve of the Inquisition, but that is not politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have to keep being a guy that we confuse the opinions of for your actual opinions. Now go back to approving of the...
No. So eventually you start getting into the capital, and Siguro is at first awed by the sight of the city. He can't believe that there are so many people in one place and that you have such grand structures. As the city. As you enter into the city and you approach the building where the Inquisition meets, you drive down the road where heretics and the condemned hang in tiny cages.
Lucas looks away just a little bit, but keeps walking.
Yes. You see the exact state that Jasmine would have been in before she escaped. With the tiny cages and being pecked at by crows. But eventually you reach one of the Inquisition offices. And you can tell.
Hello.
Yeah.
My name is Lucas Dietrich Stein. We're with the Nilfenburg Cartographical Society, and I would like to register and license an undead, please.
Well, that's not something we hear every day.
It's somewhat exceptional for me as well, I'm afraid.
Bring
But
it in.
really him, actually. This way. He'll motion for people to follow.
You get kind of sent up the totem pole, as it were, and somebody recognizes your name and says, "Saint Amelia has been waiting for you."
Good. I was supposed to ask for, and then he'll give the name again. I'm glad that I thought we would reach the appropriate department, but if Saint Amelia is here, that would be preferable.
Yes. Let me wait here. I will tell her you have arrived.
Thank you.
You wait about half an hour, and the door opens, and Saint Amelia is there, and she is flanked by two paladins in shining plate armor with swords at their belt.
Lucas looks actually immediately relieved rather than terrified.
Hello again, Lucas. Felsticker. Everyone.
It's a relief to see you. How is Elland?
It is fine. It was I was there for some spring festivals. Nothing that's of too vital importance.
Well, this is
The it looks like it will be a good year in Elland.
that's good. This is Siguro the Dragon Slayer, and Lucas will go through the full set of titles.
Let me roll her history to see if she has any idea who that is. That's a pretty good roll, but it's pretty obscure, so probably not. She does look at him though, and if he was a dragon slayer, he must have been. And it's not a name I can recall. He must have been deceased a very long time ago.
Oh yes, many thousands of years. It's actually a very old children's story now. It's pre-Nilfen, and it would appear as though he was betrayed at some point. We believe possibly by his brother, and sealed within a vault and a tomb. After which he became undead through means unknown to any of us. We're still hoping to determine what exactly has happened and why what he believes to be his people's cycle of reincarnation was broken.
She looks over him. It isn't unheard of for those who die from murder to return as undead seeking vengeance. But he seems very in control of himself. And you said you've spoken with him.
Oh yes, repeatedly. There was something of an initial encounter, which I take responsibility for. Let he who cast the first fireball, and so on and so forth. But we seem to have reached an agreement. He's going to take some time to investigate and learn about Nilfenburg. He's sworn an oath not to kill anyone for at least a year and a day until he figures out how things are here and integrates with the community and learns our laws and such. And I think that it's possible he'll make a fine addition to Nilfenburg, although he may require some guidance.
No doubt.
He is, however, an exceptionally powerful warrior. I mean that in the most significant sense of the words.
He has earned his title, then.
It would appear that there is tremendous archaeological evidence for this, and he nearly fell slain Bort in a single blow. So, yes, I would believe that he's who he would appear to be.
Can he understand us?
No, I can cast a tongue spell, and that will facilitate that, but I can only cast it once a day, so I wanted to wait until the appropriate moment. He's learning a little bit of common.
Yes. Not yet, then. But, would he be... I suppose that he is not, he would not be taken with, the Inquisition aiding him in a peaceful passing?
To be frank, I think he would like to discover why he became an undead before considering such plans. It is a matter that would be of some concern to him due to his religious beliefs. I was hoping you might be able to help us with that as well, although the impertinence of my request demands prior apology.
Mm-hmm.
Could you, perhaps, ask Primus?
Ask Primus the nature of his state?
Condition.
His condition.
Or to put us in contact with the new god of death, from whom we could seek a more thorough explanation if Primus believes that would be a more suitable quest for this information.
I can try to... It will take some effort, but it is possible I can commune with Primus and learn the why of his undead state. It will take me time.
Thank you. If you need something to tide over the Inquisition, the tomb in which we've located this man seems to have been surrounded by natural rich veins of imperial gold, which I am certain would be quite useful to them in their work.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The Inquisition will, If you can direct the Inquisition to a vein of Imperial gold, you will be handsomely rewarded.
I think they may have to purchase the mining right, as Sigaru's family would obviously own their tomb and the land it is upon.
Yes, definitive.
Of course. Then I think the Inquisition would be quite happy to purchase it from Sigaro.
And he would want to oversee the deconstruction of the tomb, as personal effect of his is missing. and he would quite like to find it.
I suppose that is well, that's not a decision that's necessarily up to me, but I do not foresee that being an issue.
In that case, I shall cast the spell upon Sigaru, and everyone shall have an opportunity to speak with him. Normally, I would cast it upon myself, but I have been to teach in common, but this seems important. Is everyone prepared? Good. And then Lucas will cast tongues on Sigaru and explain all of that through to him again, including the part where it's been suggested that he might seek assistance in re-entering the cycle of death and rebirth at his discretion.
He thinks about that and says, I want to know why first.
We imagined you might.
But
Saint Amelia has agreed to seek audience with Primus himself to learn such information. It is an incredible honor, and we should all be very thankful to him and her for the attempt.
Thank you, he says to her, and she says, it is my pleasure to serve. Siguro turns over to Bort and says, since you can understand me for a moment, what I was trying to tell you yesterday when we were sparring was, and then he gives Bort some random pointer about his swordsmanship that he could not properly convey to you yesterday.
Bort will note it down. What is the name of your sword style?
It does not have a name. It is the way that the Volsungar clan have always fought. My father taught it to me, and he learned it from his grandfather, and so on. As far back as anyone remembers.
Very well, the Volsungar style. I will be sure to teach it to any who seek to learn the way of the blade.
I would be honored by that. So you can all understand me now?
For as long as the spell lasts.
He looks to Phil Sticker. What are you?
I'm a fairy. Ah!
He is a...
Wait, no, that's not how I introduced myself. No. I am Lord Philsticker of the Lord Philsticker Swamp. Wait, Sedigan, you should be introducing me.
Right, of course. This is Lord Philsticker, Lord of the Philsticker Swamp, and I am Sir Sedigan, Knight Sorcerer. And I'm, Splicter. That's my name.
Yes, he's,
I'm a fairy, can't you tell? You don't quite look like the Fae I know.
If you are rejected by Nilfenburg, there is always a place for you in the swamp. Because nobody lives there except for grandchildren. Right now. We've got to build a building in the swamp.
And Father... What did you name him? Bilge?
Oh, Bilge, yeah.
Yeah, Father Bilge. Father Bilge is there, too.
Right, he doesn't count because he, kind of is the swamp.
Okay.
I'm talking about little people like you and me.
And there's there's your army of scumboggles.
Oh, right, yes. They are also people.
Kind of stupid people, but people.
I can see why I didn't mention. I mean, I respect them. I respect.
So does anyone have? Did anyone have anything they wanted to talk to the hero about? I don't. Anything important need to be said during the hour that Tongues operates?
Did your people ever have contact with the dwarves?
Once or twice, the dwarves came down from the mountains and traded with us.
What,
But
what were they like back then?
they were short, bearded, impressive smiths. They traded. They had much wealth from the earth, gems primarily. They traded us that we did not have. Until I killed the dragon and took his hoard. They bought things from the surface, things that we could grow, things that we could collect from the forests. There used to be a lot more trees than there are here now.
Not so different from now then. This place used to be a lot more forested.
Yes.
What are you laughing at?
Oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't not at that. Something else I saw on the internet. I thought I was muted.
Better make up something funny now.
Yes. There were there used to be trees from the ocean all the way to the mountains. When we traveled, I hardly saw any.
I suppose much of it has been converted to farmland.
Mm. You have a lot more people here now than there were then. I thought our village was large, but you have shown me otherwise.
Your village was probably large for when it was for when you lived, but people become more.
Clearly.
Well, be assured, there are likely as many dragon slayers walking the earth now as there were in your time. You are still quite the impressive hero.
That is reassuring.
And it is not for lack of dragons.
No, although
If I had my sword, perhaps I would go and become a dragon slayer all over.
I'm sure it will turn up. I know some spells that may help with that at some point, but I believe the excavation will likely need to proceed in any event. Every rock within 500 meters of that tomb is worth 3 times its weight in gold, as far as these people are concerned. They require it to contain dangerous magicians.
Well then,
But
That
I
sounds
have spoken with them, and they will pay you and allow you to oversee the work. Or at least Saint Amelia believes they will, and she carries quite a bit of weight in the church.
Saint. So
Yes, it's a title reserved for only the most powerful and holy servants of the gods.
Oh. Yeah, he seems to understand and respects that. Saint Amelia, do you know if it will be possible to return me to life? She frowns and says, "It has been thousands of years. I do not know if that will be possible." And he just nods. Well, while you can all understand me, perhaps I should tell you the whole story of how I killed Nibelungen the Red.
Lucas gets out a quill and a notebook.
Mm-hmm. And he goes into into the whole epic story told from his perspective. It might be slightly embellished, but it seems to be mostly true.
Kildrak embellishes it further for future retellings.
Yes, but you have the unique experience of getting the tale of this ancient hero fighting the red dragon in single combat, told straight from the source. And he talks and he tells stories until the tongues eventually wears off. And he's happy to answer questions about his people or their culture. If you think of anything you want to ask later, go ahead. But when the tongue spell wears off, Saint Amelia says to Lucas, she's going to go to the Law Stone in the Temple of Primus tomorrow at noon to try and cast that spell for him.
Should we join you or await you somewhere?
She says that they will close the temple to the public for such a casting, but I will let any of you in if you wish to observe.
Would it be safe for our new companion to attend?
Probably, but I would not. Possibly not. I would not chance it.
Very good. I will explain to him then. And then Lucas made a face. I don't like leaving him unattended in the city yet. He has much to learn. He doesn't fully speak the common tongue. And while I trust to his intentions, I don't trust to his ability to avoid trouble. Some of us should probably wait with him, and some of us should probably attend to the personal appearance of Primus. I don't suppose any of you would be comfortable missing such an opportunity.
I would prefer to stay with our guest. After all, he is trying to train me in his way of the sword.
Ah, you have my thanks, sport.
I'll watch them.
I thought you of all people would want to see this Phil sticker.
Huh?
Given our experience in the realm of Primus, I think that both of us have an interest in avoiding that sort of thing. We are both aligned against Primus, and it is not a pleasant experience to be exposed to the pure energy of law when you're of chaos.
That's terrible. I shall pray for you.
That's far too much universal understanding, Bort. It hurts when he looks. No. No, we're okay. I've seen Primus. It's fine. We'll be okay.
All right.
Thank you.
If you're sure, I do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. So you guys do have tonight spend in the city. Um, any where do you
Well, I'm gonna have to go meet Gert von Hemmer and introduce him to Sigaru the Dragon Slayer and read him the translation of the story of what happened.
Yes, you
Obviously.
are. And Gert's gonna have to geek out about that. Um, and so does his daughter, who is also there.
And we shall learn if the undead can enjoy tobacco.
Seems unlikely, but
Yes.
Yeah.
It is also met with frowns and lack of enjoyment.
Lucas is disappointed by that, but it was polite to try. That's his evening.
Gert offers to put Suguro up for the night, in case Lucas doesn't want to explain to his parents why he has an undead abomination, sleeping at
That
their
would be
house.
good. Bort and Philstick will be by in the morning. They're going to train with him. I am afraid that Saint Amelia has invited me to personally attend while she communes directly with Primus on the matter.
You were very lucky. I wish
know.
I wish I could attend such a monumental experience.
It is like a dream come true. I shall be sure to write all about it and to tell you about it after the ceremony's conclusion. I wish I could invite you, but I wasn't given that permission.
I understand. The details you provide will have to be enough. And yeah, does anyone else do anything of note before tomorrow?
Not really that I can think of. I'm like curious to see how accurate the things that Silas recalled were about the tomb and like how it worked with people going in to like find artifacts of their past lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that was an accurate recollection of how it worked.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's the only thing really he has to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, from what Suguru has said, it does seem to be accurate.
Well, that's good.
Okay. So, the next day comes, and Bort and Philsticker, you show up and go into Gert von Hammer's backyard and do some training. The rest of you, you climb. You begin climbing the steps to the Temple of Primus in the center of Nilfenburg. The pathway up the hill to the top in the center of the city is lined with temples and shrines to every deity that is officially recognized by the Empire. There are too many to count. Some are small local gods of faraway places. Others are major gods worshipped across the Empire. People come and go. Some shrines look mostly unused. Some are overflowing with offerings. Priests of every acolytes of every faith beg for offerings and prayers to be said to their deity of choice. But most people on this road are heading to the Temple of Primus, although many of them will be disappointed today. As you reach the temple at the top, and it looks. It is a white building with marble columns. Looks not unlike the Parthenon of Athens. The gates are shut today, though people are still are still making prayers on the outside of the temple. As you approach, the paladins who are standing guard recognize you from yesterday. You recognize them as the paladins who escorted Saint Amelia, and they open the door and let you in.
Thank you.
The main hall of the Temple of Primus is set around the Law Stone, the most, which is publicly on display in the center of the temple. The Law Stone is the most sacred artifact of the Empire. It is, according to what Lucas knows, a stone that bears the laws of the Nilfenburg Empire, which was given to them by Primus on year 0 of the Nilfen calendar. You record dates from the day that this law stone was given. According to everything Lucas would have learned in school, the town of Nilfenburg, by following the laws outlined on this stone, ceased its chaotic struggles and became orderly, and through its order were able to prosper and spread across the continent. While Nilfenburg has added law, the core of your effectively constitution is written into this stone. And and guarding this, and the temple is built around this stone. The stone has one eternal protector, Amarut the Inevitable, a clockwork creature not entirely unlike the Modrons you encountered before, but much larger and terrifyingly powerful. Lucas knows that every so often someone is killed by Marut when they defile the temple. It is his job to protect it, and every now and then, and he does so with extreme effort. It is considered by most to be unfortunate when someone attempts to vandalize something in the temple and are instantly killed by Marut. But everyone accepts it as inevitable.
Phil Sticker was right not to come here.
Saint Amelia is already in prayer, but she stops and turns to Lucas and the rest of you when you enter, and she says, "Thank you all for coming. I'm pleased you have made it."
Thank you for inviting us. This is quite the occasion.
Yes. I'm glad that you are here, but I will request that you step over here and stay behind, say, this point here, and watch from this distance. Everything should be fine, but, well, when dealing with matters of the divine, it is best to be cautious.
Of course.
If you're all ready, I will begin. She walks up to the law stone, and as she gets close to it, Marut comes over and is watching her with its cyclopean, unblinking eye. And she bows to Marut, and she whispers something to the inevitable. And it takes a step back and sits down. It's still watching her, but seems to allow her to proceed. She gets down and kneels in front of the wall stone, and she touches her hand to it, and the letters glow with bright light. And she begins praying. She prays for a long time, and the glow grows, and the glowing of the law stone grows brighter and brighter. And a light begins to open in the ceiling, and Amelia begins speaking to something that the rest of you can't understand. There is the ticking sound. It sounds like what you heard in Mechanus, but more so. Coming from this glowing spot in the ceiling. And she communes with some entity for a couple of minutes, and then the glow dissipates and the law stone ceases to glow, and she pulls her hand away, and she stands up and steps back. And Marut stands up and continues walking in a patrol around the temple. She comes over to you. She looks as if she's just run 5 miles.
That was spectacular. Congratulations on a successful communion.
Yes. Thank you. I spoke with Primus, and I think I understand why Siguru's soul is trapped.
Lucas nods.
Let's get some water, and I will explain.
Lucas will extend a hand as if to invite her to lead the way.
Mm-hmm.
Turn
And
aside.
as she goes into a deeper part of the temple, and goes into like some of the private areas for the priests, and gets a golden goblet and fills it with water, and drinks, and offers some to the rest of you if you like, but she's just trying to catch her breath. And she sits down and she says, "Okay, so I believe what happened was that Sugoru's soul, possibly due to the matter of his death, the murder, held on longer than normal. Normally, when we die, our souls move on to the next plane in moments, and it may take much longer to be processed into our eternal state, but the soul leaves the body and is gone from this plane, typically very quickly. I believe his soul lingered and then was trapped by the Imperial gold in his tomb.
He will be very upset to hear this. It's most of his relatives will have been brought there expecting to re-enter the cycle, and all of them were undead when we located them. So that's it? You believe that should he now be assisted on, that he would resume his cycle of reincarnation?
I cannot say. It has been a long time, but whatever gods he worshipped, if they will still take him, then whatever afterlife they promised. I believe
he
that...
seems to have worshipped a number of gods that are still worshipped contemporarily, and a few warrior gods.
Then it is possible. Or he may go on and find himself a petitioner in some plane. As happens to most of us now.
Well, thank you for the extraordinary effort. I
have a concern, though.
Oh?
I believe he was a good man in life. But his soul has been trapped in a corpse for a very long time. His soul may be heavy. It may sink low, if you understand.
I do, and that is a concern. What can be done?
He could be taken somewhere of spiritual power and perhaps his soul could be cleansed.
So he ought perhaps have joined us after all?
Well, perhaps. Perhaps, but that could have also destroyed him. I will. What we need is not me. We need a cleric from one of the. We need a cleric to a god of pure good, not a god of law. Do you know?
Unfortunately, we killed all those.
Lucas will roll knowledge religion. But he has a sneaking suspicion that there's going to be only one answer to this question. Let's see.
Whatever it is, I don't think he knows it with a 6.
Any suggestions?
I mean, there are. She looks down in the direction from where you are, towards all of the rows of temples, and says, "Well, there are many clerics and want to be clerics in the city, but one of significant holiness to aid you in this. I will need to research."
Thank you, if you will.
I will ask the Inquisition.
Before I go, I have a final matter to discuss, and that is what should be done about Sigoru in the meantime. I know he'll be returning to the Runestone to oversee matters there, but someone ought perhaps be assigned to him, perhaps a number of someones to provide translation services, oversee construction efforts, to act as an administrative staff separate from the Inquisition for his household. Do you think that would be... How would we... legally speaking, what would be the optimal approach to that to avoid upsetting Primus?
Sigoru would hire them.
Well, disembodied voice, who isn't here, that he could hire them, of course, but someone not some that would be simplest case, or someone not you want someone not involved with the Inquisition, someone from the perhaps the Emperor could provide some men for that task.
It's possible.
Or you could ask the let's see.
If I should come up
you
with
could
someone's...
ask the Duke. Who
I had a third name in mind, but if I were to convince Siguro that this person could be trusted to find and return to him the sword, and Siguro, would it be helpful to Siguro's state for him to perhaps do some work with you in the interim for the good of the people?
It would not hurt.
Good. Well, he has made a friend, a colleague of mine, Gert von Hemmer, may be just the man to oversee this excavation, being as he is an expert on the undead.
Gert von Hammer. That name has crossed my desk before. Yes. I believe he would be the man for this job.
I shall see if I can orchestrate that for you then. And if it does work out to that, I can send Sigoru to find you?
Yes. I will be in I will be in Nilfenburg for a while yet. He may come to the temple and ask for me here.
Ah, splendid. I can make no promises that he will, but I shall try to convince him.
Very good.
Thank you. Lucas will go and seek to orchestrate that.
Mm-hmm. Gert absolutely jumps at the opportunity.
Now, to convince Sigoru that Gert can be trusted, I don't suppose you'll allow a persuasion check.
Sure.
All right. Lucas is determined to persuade, to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
17.
All right. Well, he is. He agrees.
Thank you. Gert von Hemmer is Nilfenburg's foremost expert on the creation of and binding of undead. He'll be able to determine if the structure had any impact on any of your other relatives, and if so, what can be done about it. He is a man who can be trusted with this task, and it would free you to go and be a hero for the time being. Saint Amelia has agreed to work with you, if that interests you.
That sounds preferable to me than standing around and watching them dismantle my tomb, my family tomb.
It is a
as long
shame.
as since this Gert is trustworthy, as long as my family artifacts are kept for when my sword is found, I will.
If you were to take them, that would be theft, a thing that our religion looks down upon quite a bit.
Good. Yeah. And he agrees. And so Sigoru goes and agrees to work with and temporarily joins the retinue of Saint Amelia, the Truthsayer. Gert von Hemmer goes with the Inquisition to oversee the mining of the Imperial Gold and the reclamation of archaeological artifacts from the tomb that they're mining out.
With an understanding that those artifacts must be kept within the village and presented to people who can prove ownership of them via reincarnation, as is in the will of their previous owner.
Yes.
Including these items from our treasure sheet, which I will now sadly delete.
No,
Tragic.
try to get Cigar to pay us. Try to get Cigar. Fuck.
Tragic. But all is complete. And you are free now to do as you will. The party as a whole gets 20,000 XP divided by the. Oh wait, there's only 5 of you now.
So
Yeah!
4,000 XP each?
Yes, 4,000 XP each.
Not a bad haul. Not at all, not at all.
Well, Lucas will level up. Unfortunately, I was not able to archaeologically reconstruct him, so he will be leveling up as a diviner, which I feel suits him personality-wise and based on the spells he casts best of all. But I will now take objections from party members who think he should remain an abjurer.
It would confuse the viewers if he changed.
Well, he has to change because the artificer that he was doesn't exist anymore.
But the old man on the TV told me anything that goes on the internet is there forever. How are my parents supposed to be scared if things genuinely can go away?
I'm sorry, I was unwilling to use the Wayback Machine to commit piracy. I respect them too much.
You're a lawful coward.
Yes.
That should be an alignment.
But wait, would it be more lawful to not steal, or more lawful to believe that you have to stay the same class you were before? They're both lawful options. And one
That's
of them
true.
involves
Lucas
stealing.
should probably just die in an accident, but I don't think we want to do that.
Mm-mm.
No, you should steal in order to support your alignment, thus dragging yourself into some kind of internal conflict.
No, it's fine.
I get
He
an
can
extra
be a
attack.
diviner now.
All right.
Silas levels up too.
Excellent.
Oh, so does what's-his-face.
Billsticker?
Yeah.
Alright.
I think we all did. I leveled up also.
I have no idea what the
14,000.
14,000.
I am
Oh, I'm sorry.
less than 5. I'm like less than 400 short.
Should have. Well, wait, what's that sword he gave you worth?
What is the sword he gave me worth?
It's not actually magic, so it's worth what a sword's worth.
Isn't the false aura worth something? Come on.
Although we could certainly rule Slayer to try to get virtual gold for the value of the imperial gold we've donated to the church. I think 20,000 is a good amount of XP we shouldn't complain about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's fine. You'll probably get that much XP from your first haul out of Blue Rock Forest, right? I mean,
That is a good next stop, unless anyone wants to go anywhere else. Is that what we want to do?
yeah. So, I kind of want to know what is the party's agenda for next time. The quest that you have been putting on hold is going to Terfeld in order to.
Well, it's technically meeting a guy in Terfeld who is presently in Nilfenburg, so we'd probably just meet him here and take the boat up to the town of Icemead.
Sure.
Regardless, yeah, let's go there now. By
What
which
is-
I mean, we will stop when we find, like, a magic spider tree while we're on the way.
Well,
Is
he'll
it
be
a
in the
long
boat.
sword?
Yeah, it's a longsword.
Okay, that's 15 GP, so
Does it get an artifact styling bonus? Does it belong in a museum?
I mean, due to its age, probably yeah, but due to D&D rules, no.
Can't he go to the pawnbroker and tell them, like, this sword was made nearly several thousand years ago. I got one of the guys from the time to prove it. And Cigaro's like, ugh. And then the pawnbroker's like, that guy doesn't even speak common. And Cigaro's like, I am a friendly undead. Do not attack me. It'd be a great scene.
Yes, but unfortunately, that would only result in real gold and not XP.
It's true.
That would fall into the same category as like gold you get from haggling. Like that falls into the same category as gold you get from working a job, which is it doesn't give you XP.
How am I ever supposed to get better at my job? Oh,
By going out and going into dangerous locations and taking gold from them.
Huh.
Or not keeping any of the gold and completing a quest that was not intended. And having the GM like just give you the approximate value of all of the loot. Anyway.
We were just supposed to murder that man, and it was supposed to be quick, but no, we took 2 sessions getting him a life.
The entire Runestone was a random encounter, you know.
after
That's- that
Segura
story
builds
isn't built
the
that way.
That's
After
the best.
Segura
The best
builds
games
the new
happen that
tomb.
way. Mm-hmm.
after Segura builds the new tomb,
Mm-hmm.
we'll test it out for him. By which I mean we break in and steal all the shit, and then Segura tells us somebody broke into my tomb. Oh well, I guess it wasn't very secure then.
Mm-hmm. He then
then
hires
we'll
you
get
to
the
build an
experience
adventurer-proof tomb, and then the campaign turns into Dungeon Keeper.
And Segura just gets weaker and weaker as we sap all this XP from him.
All right. So next time, you'll meet up with Lucas's contact and put together an expedition into Blue Rock Forest. But that's it for this session. Thank you all for playing, etc., etc.
Oh, okay.
The end.